Hello and welcome back to NAB 2019. We are here at the OneSource Video Production Workflow at the B&H booth in Central Hall. My name is Nick Marchese, brand ambassador for OneSource Video, and we are here with the one, the only, the man himself, Dan May, president, Blackmagic Design.
It sounds more impressive than it is,
I
but
know.
that is still all factually true.
It is. It's the way I said it, though, right? It worked, though.
More
You like
impressive.
it, though, too. It
has a nice ring
It has
to
a
it.
nice ring to it. It works. But Dan, thanks so much for joining us here. How's the show going? I'm sure you're running all over the place.
It has been a great show for us. You know, NAB is such an important time of the year where we're able to come out, really talk to our customers, show them what we've been working on, talk about some of these important developments, and get feedback on where we are as a company and as a brand, talk to people about the things they like about what we're doing, give us advice on what we're doing, and it's a great time for us to come out and just show what we've been working on, and that part has been going great for us.
Right, and that's always important for Blackmagic as well, right? To be able to hear from the users saying what's working, what's not, what do you guys need. That's how you're really coming out and innovating with most of your products, right?
You know, we've only been a camera manufacturer for 7 years, and people are blown away when they come up and they say, man, I'm so glad that you listened to this bit of advice, or we came and talked to you 3 years ago. We love everything you're doing. We love how you're changing the industry, and that's something that we always take to heart. And it's hard to do everything for everybody, but Blackmagic Design does a good job of trying to build products that really empower people, and that only comes from listening to them, taking their advice, and then trying to put our best foot forward with products that really help customers.
Right. You know, I think about when I used to use the original 2.5K, and I think about how Blackmagic as a company evolved, like all the acquisitions that you guys had, DaVinci, Ultimat, Fairlight, Terranex, Sintel. I mean, talk about that. I mean, when you're discovering those companies and you're acquiring them.
I mean, I would say that our industry is kind of littered with the road of companies that have been acquired by other companies that didn't go places or didn't become what they could have become. And I look at what we've been able to do with those brands. You know, some of those brands have been around since a 100-year-old company. You know, DaVinci was the Coke, premium brand of color correction. And for Blackmagic Design to come in and have a really focused plan for those brands, how to reinvent them, how to make them be applicable in a more modern and updated world. And again, really to be able to help customers with using technology that otherwise, may have been just either lost to time or would have never become affordable to our user base. You know, all of those products, DaVinci, Terranex, Fusion, certainly just having a Sintel scanner still exist. You know, these are things that just would have never happened had we not been able to step in. And we feel like we've been really successful in keeping those brands alive and putting them into users' hands that would have just never had access to that kind of technology before.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so interesting to me, too, that, like 7 years, again, not a long period of time. What do you think it is about Blackmagic that so many users, professional, those beginning, everyone is adopting the technology? They're on board.
Yeah, I think that we're very good about keeping our eyes on the customers, right? We don't have to necessarily answer to a lot of other folks about why we decide to do things. So, when we decide we want to build a product, it's not necessarily about, how do we make the most money off of this product or what does the market need us to do? It's really just how do we look at what the customers want and how do we give them something that's going to be, how do you build a $1,000 cinema camera? How do we challenge ourselves with doing, a Resolve software that's a $299 license that someone buys once and has never paid for an upgrade for again? These are real challenges that we put forward, but it's because we're trying to help our customers and not force them into a complete Blackmagic ecosystem, but give them the options to be able to step into a Blackmagic world. And once they find that they love the products or they love what we're doing, they find themselves coming back and saying, well, I did use that camera. I should use Resolve. Why don't I buy a Decklink or a Mini Converter? And this is what's led to Blackmagic being as successful as we have been. Not forcing people into things, but letting them discover on their own, finding these solutions, and then coming back and visiting us every NAB, seeing what's new, and that's worked well for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I mean, it was released last year, but the Pocket Cinema 4K is, people are probably still crawling over it in the booth, right, to get their hands on it. So talk about that. I mean, that's still a year later, still going, still super popular as if it was just announced.
It's one of those products that you could say, and I don't know if I would want to say it's the most successful product we've ever had, but it's certainly from a volume-based standpoint, we were just overwhelmed with like how well that camera has been received. And look, there's no such thing as a perfect product. You strive to build a perfect product, but when we talk to customers who have gotten it, just the rave reviews that people have put out for there, the work that we've seen done with it, most importantly, these are things that make us, super excited about creating that product. But of course, what we've never seen before is there's usually you announce a product, there's a bunch of excitement, you ship the product, there's some excitement, and then the excitement, kind of dwells down as I think. But like the excitement around this product has just stayed steady. Someone, my friend got it. Now I've tried it. Now I want one. I've shown someone. They want something. More and more videos online, either reviewing the camera or showing what people have done with the camera. And we've just never seen that consistent excitement across a product before. So again, I don't necessarily want to say the most successful product, but man, it is unusual to see a year later the demand and the excitement around that product just as high as it's ever been.
Yeah, and you know what? Jumping into new products, I mean, you guys are still developing for that camera. You just made a battery grip for it. Talk about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we knew when we developed the first Pocket Cinema camera 4K was that we wanted to have the same size as the original Pocket camera, but that proved to be impossible. We were never going to be able to create a 4K camera. And for years we had said, people would say, like, you guys should build a 4K Pocket camera. And we'd say, well, I should write that down. We should totally do that. We knew we wanted to do that, but the size was always going to be a challenge. And one of the things that we made a compromise on was continuing to use those LPE6 batteries because of the form factor and wanting to keep that camera as small as possible, even though it was a bit larger. Now, the challenge there is that that battery will really only run your camera for about 40 minutes with nothing else attached to it in a kind of best case scenario. And at the same point, we put phantom power on there for the microphone. We put USB-C output on there so we could record to a drive or power the drive. All of these things continue to drain that battery. So we had compromised to make the small size with the LPE6 batteries, but we had also made it so that the door was removable, knowing that we would go and tackle kind of doing this extended battery grip. By doing that, we're able to use these two L-series batteries, put them in the tray, slide them in there. That gives you up to 2 hours with the camera, which is a pretty good use for just using the camera. Now, of course, if you start doing your phantom power and powering the USB-C, that'll drag that down a bit. But we wanted to address that situation. Makes the camera a little bit bigger, but does look really nice. Functionality is key for us. And of course, they're very affordable, under $250 price, using those L-series batteries that everybody has. They're around, they're commonly available. You know, we feel it's a great solution, and people seem to be really excited about what we're doing with that.
Yeah, you know what? It looks so appropriate on the camera, too. It's a really comfortable addition to the grip as well, and it gives you something more to hang on to.
Absolutely.
So, still in the camera realm, actually, before NAB, of course, you guys announced the Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K, the G2.
The G2 version. Yeah, we didn't feel that this was such a, we're going to release a brand new camera, or it's a Ursa Mini Extreme, or, you know, it's something where we're launching a whole new camera. But it was certainly a nice update to what the original Ursa Mini, what we now call the G1, was. But being able to put a new sensor in there that, while the same size, did give us new capabilities. Obviously, the big one that everyone gravitates toward is the higher frame rate, up to 300 frames in HD, 150 frames in Ultra HD, and then also being able to do things like the higher refresh rate, which will help with the jello effect with the rolling shutter, more color calibration, day 3 NAB tongue, pixel shading. These are just things that give more life to that
SSD
camera.
recording as well.
Obviously, being able to go out the USB-C to record to those drives. So these are nice functional things that will help give people that are looking to buy the Ursa Mini Pro just even more reason to consider that camera. Not necessarily that it's an entirely new camera, but it does give life to that. And of course, the thing that makes people really excited across all those cameras is Blackmagic RAW. You know, putting in that new form of that new codec we have in there, getting the advantages of RAW, getting the advantages of using a video kind of base codec, a single file. Adding that sidecar where we can go ahead and put color grade information, LUTs in there without being destructive to the data. So you're right. Well, in some ways, this show doesn't seem like the big camera announcement. We still do have a lot of camera news that people are excited to see at the show this year.
Right, and something we'll jump into in a moment. It's so important that Blackmagic, you're developing cameras, the hardware, and then you have the DaVinci Resolve software, because you really are connecting those two features. It's seamless, it's integrated as well. So, but before we get there, I just also want to go to the broadcast realm of things, the DeckLink 8K as well.
We have a whole range of 8K products this year, and it's not necessarily that we think that people are chomping at the bit to have a ton of 8K solutions. We know that 8K is out there. We know that places like Japan, 8K is really well established or becoming established, the Olympics coming up. But we figured that if we're going to go out and build larger, bigger, better capable products, we're just not that far away from adding a few bits and making them be 8K capable as well. So whether that be our DeckLink 8K or some of our other newer broadcast 8K products, it is really about creating an amazing Ultra HD product that is 8K capable. So all of those products we feel are things that customers may have a little bit of use or a lot of use, but they're getting a tremendous amount of value out of all of those products.
Right, and even the new HyperDeck, right? The new rack-mountable.
Absolutely, the new HyperDecks were something that we've been working on for a long time, where we've talked about how do we create a better HyperDeck, and we've looked at some of the best features of our video assist, our HyperDeck, and our camera technology, using that touchscreen, using some of the VTR controls, being able to have that HyperDeck controller where we can control up to 8 units at a time. Again, a lot of this stuff, feedback from customers that we've had about how we can improve upon that line. And then if we're going to do all this technology, let's make it 8K capable as well, because if you're going to put all that work in, if someone's going to spend all of that money now, even if they don't need that 8K today, we want to give them that value of giving them that great Ultra HD product and then having the 8K ability for them as well.
No, of course, and in the 8K realm, the new ATEM, the Constellation.
Yeah, and that's a great example of an area where we were looking at building a 4ME switcher, and you start saying, well, look, if we're going to have a near 40 input SDI for Ultra HD, well, that could really just become a 10 input 8K switcher. So being able to add that functionality, then when we start thinking, okay, well, if we're going to make it 8K and Ultra HD, we really want to put those up-down cross converters on every one of those inputs. That way, if I'm doing an 8K shoot, look, I've only got 1 or 2 cameras that are 8K. Maybe I've got some 8K graphics, but I have these other HD or Ultra HD cameras. I'm going to need to upscale those. So we put those on every input. All those 24 outputs being assignable for as many programs or previews or whatever aux outs you'd like to have there. You know, for us, all of these ATEM folks that have gone out there and bought our television studios and Studio Pros, they've really started to come back and saying, I love all the things you're doing, but I want bigger, I want more capability. So we felt the need to do this for our customers. And again, those that need 8K, it's already available. But for those that just needed more, we've put that in there as well.
No, that's awesome. And you even went back and you updated the duplicator as well. You guys added some new features there.
Yeah, we continue to do updates on things like the duplicator, being able to do the record across multiple discs. We just wanted to add more functionality. It's, you know, for us, it's always about trying to give more value to our customers, and whether it's a small software update or a refresh of a product, we always are trying to think about how we can best help our customers.
Awesome. So DaVinci had a lot of new features as well. We were excited about that.
Yeah, DaVinci is one of those platforms for us, which is so important that we provide users with the most capability possible. And as you look over the years, like we talked about with the acquisitions, being able to add Fairlight, being able to add Fusion, of course, adding that whole update page. And this year, when we were talking to a lot of editors about what they wanted to see back to our user communication, what we kept hearing was, how do I move faster? I want to go quicker. How can you help me with that? And the more we tried to wrestle with that problem, one of the challenges becomes is you don't necessarily want to go into the edit page and redo the edit page, and suddenly people are just freaking out about the fact that you've changed, you know, a page in which they do their living. It's a culture that they live in there. And so what we decided was we needed to actually create this new cut page, a page where we could go in and very quickly drop a bunch of footage in, cut quite quickly, assemble an entire project. Now, for some person, that might be the entire project. I'm just slapping a bunch of footage together and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. And other people might be the, look, this is my first step where I'm going to build a rough cut, and now the great part is that's just automatically in the edit page. I can do all of my refinements there, and I'm good to go. So we don't, again, want to tell people how it's to be used, but so far in talking to all the editors that we've seen at NAB, it's been really exciting, and they've been telling us how they're going to use it, and that's an exciting time for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, it's so interesting. I actually went and looked back. How many this year Academy Award-winning films were using DaVinci? Marvel Studios, Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, Spider-Man, A Star is Born. It's really awesome to see that.
I mean, DaVinci Resolve has always been such a great platform in the sense that it's something for everybody. Whether you're a Hollywood post-production facility that wants to do these color grading and conforms, or whether you're an independent film maker and you're trying to work on one software that can do the entire suite of things, or you're a student that's just trying to learn for the first time, the fact that we offer a very robust free version of the software online, you know, we've really taken as many strides as possible to make something that is usable from, you know, the 12-year-old that's just putting Fortnite videos up all the way to the, you know, Academy Award winning, production people out there that are using DaVinci every day. It's a challenge, but we feel like we've done a great job of rising to that challenge.
You did, and with the keyboard now as well. Talk about the DaVinci keyboard, how that's even making more seamless integration, how natural that is to want to use that.
You know, as we started going through the cut page and talking about speeding things up, one of the things that came up when we were talking about is like, what was your first editing experience? And, you know, some people, it was that first linear editing experience of using these controllers to work with decks, and for some of us, it was just about throwing a bunch of footage on a timeline and chopping the heck out of it and just trying to make a video because it was the first time we had ever touched an NLE system. And one of the things we came back to as we developed that cut page was that ability to edit with two hands, being able to have, you know, no wasted motion, everything goes very quickly. And if I'm going to sit there for 6 to 8 hours a day, or night for a lot of editors, you know, you want to just be as efficient as possible. And so we decided to put out this DaVinci Resolve editor keyboard, and we think that we've really done a great job of making almost like a premium style product where the controls are amazing, the clutch that on the knob is incredible, and then we try to look at, like, what's the most performance-driven keyboard out there? And you talk about e-gamers and what they do out there and the twitch reflexes they need with the tools they have. Well, editors are like that too, where they're doing the same motions over and over again. And we really analyzed all of that. We put these type of esports keys on the actual keyboard themselves, made it beautiful so that if we're having clients come in, it's a beautiful piece of equipment there that an editor can take pride on. And editors want to take pride in the craft they do, and we wanted to give something to them that we thought they'd really enjoy using. And that's kind of how we got to that editor's keyboard.
No, it's incredibly smart, and it's an alternative for some people that might find color panels up front intimidating, or might think that they want to just really get rid of that mouse in general. And just so it's really, really smart. And one other thing I want to talk about, last thing here, is Fairlight. How is Fairlight changing Blackmagic? How is it changing DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, for us, it's just another step in kind of the evolution of DaVinci Resolve, where you're able to say, look, here's this amazing brand that's been around for zillions of years, and people have used it for all kind of professional audio use. And again, wanting to make it so that we've got these beautiful Fairlight panels that can continue to be used for the high end, but also being able to give that same technology that's been used and developed for years and give it to everybody within the software interface. So we continue to do that. We continue to do new implementations. We have this amazing new feature. We're able to slice up dialogue and stretch or squish it, and then it does an auto pitch adjust, part of our new neural engine that we're using some of the artificial intelligence. And whether it's just a small thing that someone may use a little bit, or something where someone's going to every day go in and use these features, we continue to push Resolve, push Fairlight, push all of these applications in ways that, again, we always come back to how are we empowering our customers, how are we helping them the best, and keep both eyes on the needs that they have.
That's incredible. Dan, thanks so much for all the information. Thanks so much for the updates from the show. Show's still going on, folks. Today is only Wednesday. We got one more day left. So if you want to stay in tune with more great products just like Blackmagic Design, come back here and watch us at the One Source Video Production Workflow right here at the B&H booth in Central Hall. Thanks again, Dan.
You got it, Nick.